Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about SQL tuning for experts, new and improved tools for DBAs and developers. There are so many tools that we have which we have recently built and improved over the time. I hope this session would be a fruitful session for you all to explore and experience our tools that we have for SQL tuning. Let's get started. Let me introduce myself. I am Anusha Vojjola. I work as a senior product manager in observability and manageability team. Today's agenda is as follows. First, we will cover SQL tuning challenges, then recommended methodology. We will deep dive into proactive toolset that we have to offer and reactive toolset. And we'll finally conclude with the summary. Before we jump into the challenges, let's look at the statistics. There was a survey done by IOUG in 2022 where it was found that 46% of operational cost was spent on the performance diagnostics and learning the root causes combined. And 36% of time is spent on fixing the infrastructure changes and stabilizing the databases. Whereas 31% is just spent to ensure that DB is up and running. Looking at the statistics, clearly we know that DBAs spend most of their time in diagnosis and tuning the databases. That's where exactly our diagnostic and tuning pack comes handy and helps in doing the task for you with lesser time. According to dbta.com, that is Database Trends and Application, performance optimization was one of the most common tasks carried out by DBAs, with 70% listing it as part of their role ahead of backups, deployments, and data transformations. When responses are filtered to just those using a paid for monitoring tool, performance optimization increased to 80%, indicating that the additional information available helps users find ways to improve the servers and databases that they are responsible for, as well as freeing up time to focus on this vital area. As we've seen the statistics, let's look at SQL tuning. Let's look at SQL tuning challenges. There are multiple challenges that we have. As application-specific issues such as poorly written SQL statements, bind-sensitive SQL with bind peaking, cursor sharing, literal usage, and packaged apps. Optimizer-related concerns like stale or missing statistic, improper optimizer configuration, optimizer-related changes such as upgrades, patch sets, rapidly changing data. Resource contention such as hardware resource crunch, not parallelized or improperly parallelized hardware. There's also issues sometimes with support for different personas, as in DBAs or DevOps or apps DBAs, and a few with limited or less knowledge of SQL and optimizer. There could be sometimes issue in SQL tuning. Lack of automated E2E and scalable solution, as in lack of scalability with high volume SQLs and missing end-to-end automation, is also one of the challenges that we could see here. Here are recommended methodologies. Proactive approach is to avoid any foreseen problems, or for anything that has been happening, use a reactive toolset. We have these features listed, and the ones with blue star are the new features, which we will look into it as we go forward. And if you guys need more information about it, I will be dropping a blog or a link regarding all these features that I'm going to talk today. So which would help you guys dig deeper into it and further know about it. So coming back to proactive toolset, we have automatic SQL tuning advisor. If you are already aware of it, it's amazing. I hope it's already enabled in most of your databases and is helping you proactively identify the issues. Next, we have workload analysis, which is a new feature introduced in EMCC 13.5 RU11. We have SQL Insights, which is a OPSI offering, and we have SPA, which is SQL Performance Analyzer. We have SQL Performance Analyzer as a quick check as well. And finally, we have Iridium Spotlight, which is also a new feature introduced in EMCC 13.5 RU13. Let's look at reactive toolset features. SQL Tuning Advisor. I hope you folks used it before. If not, I will walk you through the feature as well. We have real-time SQL monitoring, and there are few enhancements that we have which have been useful for a lot of developers and DBAs. SQL Explorer, which is also an OPSI feature. Proactive toolset. So the features that are listed here, let's see what each feature talks about. Automatic SQL Tuning Advisor. As the name says, automatic. So it automatically provides a comprehensive end-to-end solution for tuning your SQL statements and provide SQL profile recommendation, which will improve your performance greatly. Then we have workload analysis, which is used to compare workloads at a different time to help us understand if there are any planned regressions or if there are any new or missing SQLs that is impacting the performance. We have SQL Insights, which gives us the analytical views at fleet, DB and SQL levels if there are any planned changes or any degradations that are happening. SQL Performance Analyzer, as famously called as PA, is used to access if there are any system changes and how that is impacting the production deployment. And then we have SPA Quick Check, which can be used as a quick routine system checkup and routine system changes such as optimizer statistic refresh if there are any production system, if there are any on production system. Then we have Iridium Spotlight. This is one of my favorite features that because I feel it has a lot more value addition to a lot of customers. This feature aggregates a lot of findings over a period of time and gives the recommendations which will give you confidence of implementing these features. Reactive toolset. As the name says, it's just a reaction to any issue that is occurred. Let's see what reactive toolset is all about and what features does it hold. SQL Tuning Advisor. It does perform comprehensive analysis to provide any SQL profile implementation, updates, restructuring of any SQLs as well. Then we have real-time SQL monitoring, which enhances or gives us more information by highlighting the issues that are happening at runtime of the SQL at the plan line level and guides with some tuning advisor as well. And then we have SQL Explorer. This is an easy to use interface to interact and explore and visually understand the detailed performance. And this feature is there in Operations Insights SQL Warehouse, OPSI SQL Warehouse. Let's go deeper into proactive toolset. Automatic SQL Tuning Advisor. If this is enabled on a database, it automates end-to-end tuning of a really high-load SQL statements as it automatically captures by various categories by statistic analysis, access path, SQL restructure analysis, alternative plan analysis, and all of that. And it provides recommendations to improve the time by implementing SQL profiles and sometimes restructuring the SQLs or statics gather or refresh, and also sometimes suggests if you can create an index. All the suggestions are given to improve time, and we get a report that which we can view if there are anything that we have to implement to improve the performance, such as like SQL profiles or restructuring. Here we have automatic SQL tuning advisor. As you see here, there are SQL examined with findings and some SQLs examined without findings, and it has a pie chart which is giving what percentage has been examined. So SQL tuning advisor, this is how the UI looks like. Here if you see, it says automatic tuning SQL is currently enabled, and we see how are the findings are. And there is SQL profile, index, and these are all not implemented. If there is a green, then it is implemented. And as you see here, there is object name which says, and what is the problem? Is it missing, stale, and all of that. So it also provides us with validate SPA. SPA is something that we are going to discuss now. As you see, it says before and after. What are the potential benefits and what happens after you implement. So this is the DB time. So after it's going to be reduced, and before it's high. So there was a case study that was done by one of our customers who enabled automatic SQL tuning advisor and saw some amazing result. So this is some of the problem statements that it is affecting the production system, and this customer has enabled it for several their own clients, and for last 15 years it's been in the production system for them. And this is how we enable automatic SQL tuning. Next, we look into workload analysis. As the name suggests, this feature is going to analyze workloads given as inputs while running. It compares two workloads based on user inputs and checks if there is any plan change or new SQL or any SQL that is missing, and how many executions happened, and all that information. There are two ways of comparison. One is automated workload analysis, where it automatically compares the reference and analysis workload as per the schedule. And we also have one-time analysis when a user is given two workloads as an input, that is SQL tuning set 1 and SQL tuning set 2. Based on the comparison metrics such as metric details, elapsed time, CPU time, buffer gets, etc., a comparison report is generated. And this is how the report would look like from automated workload analysis. So it shows the elapsed time and are there any statements that are changed by the plan, and SQL statements by performance. Workload analysis report. So this is how the comparison report would look like. So based on the comparison metric you choose, you get a list of comparison reports. As you see here, disk reads, buffer gets, CPU time, and elapsed time. And after you open the workload analysis, we can see that what are the SQL statements that are there in each category. So that's where the SQL ID is for the request. We're going to open that, or we can see if there are any new plans that are there. So here there's one new plan that we see, and there are new, but let's just choose this one. And then we have how the index change has affected the overall performance. As you see here, before it is a unique index and now it is a full axis, full table scan. So that's why there is a performance change. I will walk you through the demo. Let's open the Enterprise Manager Cloud Control 13.5. We see on the DB home page where we could access workload analysis, where we will now configure, as it says it is not configured. So as we click on the workload analysis, we go to the workload analysis page. As I've mentioned earlier, there are two types. One is automated analysis and another one is one-time analysis. So in this demo, I will show the configuration of automated analysis. So please read a note before you configure any workload analysis. Let's create the analysis task. If display on home page is enabled, that as you see, then the task will show up on DB home page. Basic takes default recommended settings and advanced creation type provides with more options to customize. One can add filters and choose comparison workloads with a rolling or fixed reference workload. As I've mentioned earlier, these are scheduled based on your preferences. Let's submit the task. As we see here, you have to wait 30 minutes before we go. So I already have a task which was submitted before. So I'll just open it so that we could see how does that look on a DB home page with some results. So as you see here, now it is configured and we can see what is analysis period and reference period. We can also see what is performance improved, workload impact, overall missing, improved new, and elapsed time. Are there any SQL changes, statement changes by performance, and if there are any SQL statements by plans. Let me log into this again to show you how does the comparison report looks like and how can we read the comparison report. As we see here, there is a reference workload and also how many SQLs that are being analyzed, and you can also save the report. There's common, missing, as we've seen in the automated analysis. So here we have more SQLs that we can look at. So I would like you folks to see at how can we find regressed SQLs, new or missing, and if there is any new plan change. So let me just go to one of the SQLs here, regressed. So once you see, we can see the view SQL text and what are the bind variables that are changed. We can also see the metric changes before and after, such as elapsed time, which are comparison metrics, CPU time, buffer times, etc. Buffer gets, etc. Rows. Also can see what is the problem and what is the symptom. So here where the plan change is happening, what's the plan before and what is the plan after. So one is with index and one is with full table scan, hence the performance is regressed. SQL Insights. It is a new feature on OPSI which collects SQL level performance data on databases, provide application database analysts and developers, and it uses historical archive data and gives us information about SQL performance data by using the historical data. And it is as well as operationally useful insights derived from the data at the SQL statement, database, and fleet levels. SQL Insights provides long-term SQL workload performance history based on performance measures such as elapsed CPU, IO memory, executions, etc. and it collects 2000 top SQLs in every 30 minutes based on performance. It provides aggregated SQL stats daily, which is also used to fetch the data. And as we see here, there is a trend, like performance trend, and what are the activities that are happening for any SQL ID. Then we have SQL Performance Analyzer, which is famously known as SPA. I hope most of you guys heard about it. So SPA helps us predict the impact of any changes that are happening on a workload. It helps us enrich or reduce the response time by giving us the stats and plan information. It helps us build SQL trials and SQL statement performances by execution, and it analyzes performance difference and offers fine-grained analysis on any SQL. And it is integrated with SQL plan baselines and SQL tuning advisor for an end-to-end solution. As we see here, if there are two SQL trials that are compared, the first SQL trial has more elapsed time and second one has less. So the overall impact is 93% better. So we also have SQL Performance Quick Check, where it is majorly divided into three: optimized, control, and change aware. Let me go back. Next, we have SQL Performance Analyzer Quick Check, which is majorly divided into three things: optimized, control, and change aware. SPA Quick Check is optimized to use on production system, thus reducing the time to test. It's controlled because we can do it as per SQL time limits. And for change aware, if there is any change in optimizer gather strategy or gather statistics, we are aware of those changes. So as you see here, this is for optimized or for the time. So you can see that it's time specific, and it is also optimized in terms of generating plans or SQL statements, test execute SQL statements by plan changes. This is about change aware. If there are any gather optimizer statistic for schema, and you can also validate through SPA. This is a SPA task report that is generated after running SPA, where we can see majorly mentions about SQL statement with errors, and there are few SQL statements that are unsupported, and there are SQL statements which are timeout. As we see, this is another SPA report where the comparison metric is elapsed time, where it comparing SQL trial 1 with SQL trial 2. So the second SQL trial is taking more time, hence the regression is more and the overall impact is decreased by this percentage. And if there are any plan changes, you can see that here, and right now it's unchanged, like there are same plan. But it also gives us some recommendations, as we see here, where it says create SQL plan baseline, and next it also talks about SQL tuning advisor. Iridium Spotlight. Let's look at, see what are the challenges, what is that ADDM Spotlight solves. So let's assume any production system changes has potential to disrupt availability and performance. So DBAs need to weigh the cost versus benefit of making high impact system changes. For those challenges, we have ADDM Spotlights, which provides insights on what changes need to be implemented to improve performance by providing synopsis of ADDM findings and recommendations, and it also provides with the benefit of any recommendation over a longer period of time. So this actually gives you more confidence in implementing the recommendation. It also up levels any junior staff to get the expert advice. So this is how the ADDM Spotlight looks like. There is also a demo which I will. There is also a demo which we will look into it. We can choose the time and the time range, and there is findings, recommendations, and database parameters. Let me just choose one of the categories, and you could see overall range. And there are various columns as you see here, like frequency, max impact, and overall impact, and what is the description and all of that. So let me go to quick select and see 7 days and choose 7 days. As you can see, over 7 days what all has happened. There are also color coded where you can see specific to color. As I click on include annotations, you could see there are a blue triangle which shows any parameter change that has happened to the database. So as we see here, there is a message which says before value and end value. This will help us know if there are any database parameter change. Now let's just go see in the cloud view. So here the overall impact is shown in a much higher font compared to the others to show that it is impactful. Let me just choose CPU usage for now, as it has only 4 recommendations. As we see here, there is application analysis, host configuration, and there are also specific recommendations that is described here. Let me go to recommendations section now. From all categories, we could see all types, and from SQL, it still shows the SQL ID, which gives the highest overall benefit. Let me just choose the one which needs SQL Tuning Advisor. As I click on the this 3 dots, I can go to SQL Tuning Advisor, which will give me already there, and we can run it directly. Let me go to database parameters, which specify about what all parameters are there, and also high impact parameters. Let's go back to the presentation now. Reactive toolset. SQL Tuning Advisor. This is also one of the old features that we have. So during an analysis phase, it does look at the problems as we see here in the analysis. It checks about statistics, access path, and if there are any restructuring, alternative plan, or parallel plans. And then after analysis phase, it goes to the database and checks and recommends or advises if there are any missing or stale statistic, if there is a need of new SQL profile creation, and if there is any alternative plans or need any parallel SQL profile creation, and if there is any need of modifying SQL structures. So all of this is to improve SQL's performance significantly. Sometimes it is more. This is one of the case studies from a customer. So there is a high performance CPU load. High CPU load was witnessed in RAG databases and all related to one SQL statements. So how did they solve this problem? By SQL profile for the statement. Let's see what are those changes and what happened after that. So it suggested alternative execution plan, which also used SQL profile. As you see here, the time before and after, and specific to a comparison metric, elapsed time, CPU time, and user IO time. So as you see here, that's what is happening. And there is IO count, and it's reduced drastically with a new plan which is using SQL profile. So as we see here, previously original explain plan was using a table access by index row ID and also using index range. Now in a new plan it is using unique index scan. So that is how it is helping the SQL in performing better. Next we have real-time SQL monitoring. Real-time SQL monitoring monitors SQL statements that are executed 5 seconds or more and are running in parallel. We have a few enhancements for that. Tabular view gives us the ability to customize the columns and also simplify the navigation to go to left or right side of a plan. Sorry about that. Then we have graphical explain plan, which gives us information about how the data is flowing. Thicker the lines, the more rows are coming from there. And you can also see the direction of the data that is flowing, which will give you a pictorial understanding of where is this coming from, which join is giving what, and which join is giving how many number of rows and all that. And also sometimes it has an adaptive plan, which I would like to also give a demo on. And then we have optimizer environment, which gives us the information about the parameters, and outline tab, which also gives us the statement that can be used to reproduce execution plan. We have SQL analysis tab, which is also a new tab, which gives us information about what is that needs to be done on a SQL to improve the SQL performance. As we see here, it talks about union versus union all, and it is suggesting something about that, and also about any other product subcategory which has a predicate, and if there is anything that we need to do about it. And hints are also given here. I would like to show a demo for real-time SQL monitoring enhancements. I have few active reports which I would like to show it to you guys. Yeah. So this is the Performance Hub active report that we have. As you could see, Ash Analytics, SQL Monitoring, ADDM, and Workload as the new tabs. This will all give you information about the workload that is happening at that point of time, that is 2:10 or 2:15 p.m. As we click on one of the SQL monitoring, the SQL ID, this is where we come. As I said about the more columns being available for customization, we can choose, we have view option, and here is where the adaptive plan comes, where it talks about full and final. So based on the adaptive plan choice, we can see what is the final execution plan that it chose. As we see here, thicker the lines, more the data, as I've mentioned earlier. So we could see where the data flow is happening, And we could also see the SQL text that is there and what are the activities that are happening with respect to CPU and all, and also the metrics that is caught for the specific SQL ID, and what are the parameters that are used for the SQL ID. Outline, as I said, it helps you in reproducing the plan, and it also has SQL analysis tabs, which is talking about few predicates that needs to be changed. Let's go back and see one more SQL ID. Yeah, let's just see the second one. Similar, view option can be graphical execution plan, and it also helps us to maximize and give more information, and it has all the tabs that we spoke of. We have SQL Explorer, which is a OPSI feature, that is operational insights, which gives us visual interpretation of SQL workload. It can be used to get top SQL by week or day. Results can be shown in table or pie charts or bar charts. Next, we have SQL monitoring for developers and SQL history. These features are introduced in 23C. We can import and export SQL monitoring data using AWR import and export. SQL history gives us information of what DMLs or DDLs are run in a particular session. This would help any developer to know what all queries are executed in their session, and also helps DBAs know what all queries that are running on a single or multi-tenant database. In summary, I would like to let you guys know that it is a rich tool set for comprehensive SQL tuning. It has both proactive and reactive. Choose the approach which suits you the best. And here are a few tips. ADDM Spotlight is to prioritize SQL that needs to be tuned for a longer term, as it aggregates over a longer period of time. Perform hybrid mode trials in Spark to reduce testing time, as it is an optimized way of doing it. Automatic SQL Tuning Advisor helps us identifying more tuning opportunities, as we've seen in the customer use case. And real-time SQL monitoring gives us some guiding tuning efforts as we've seen in our demo. Collaborate with developers using real-time SQL monitoring active reports, and also leverage workload analysis to know what changes are happening which is affecting your performance with respect to workload. That's all, guys. I hope you enjoyed this session. Thank you.